Hello, everyone, and thank you for joining this training session on conducting a sensitivity analysis in capital budgeting. Today, we're going to explore how this financial tool can help us manage project risk more efficiently. My name is Joey Paris, and I'll be guiding you through the key concepts and steps involved in the process. Let's start with a brief introduction to sensitivity analysis. So, what exactly is it? Essentially, sensitivity analysis is a technique used to predict the outcome of a decision given a set of variables. In the context of capital budgeting, we'll use it to assess how changes in key inputs, like cash flows or discount rates, impact the profitability of a project. This analysis helps us identify which variables are the most sensitive and therefore need closer monitoring throughout the project's life. Smith 2020. By understanding these sensitivities, we can better manage the risk associated with our capital investments. Now let's talk about the qualitative steps involved in conducting a sensitivity analysis. The first step is to identify the key variables that could significantly impact the project's financial outcomes. These could be things like sales volume, the cost of goods sold, or even the discount rate we're using. Once we've identified these variables, we'll develop what's called a base case scenario. The scenario represents the most likely values for each of these key variables. Next, we'll determine the range of variability. What happens if our sales volume is 10% lower than expected, or if our costs are 15% higher? Finally, we'll evaluate the impact of these changes on our outcomes, typically looking at metrics like net present value, NPV, or internal rate return, IRR. Miller, 2021. Moving on to the quantitative steps, the first thing we need to do is construct a financial model for the project. The model should incorporate all of the key variables we identified earlier. Next, we adjust each of these key variables individually. For example, we might increase the sales volume by 10% to see how it affects our NPV, while keeping the other variables constant. This helps us isolate the impact of each variable. After adjusting the variables, we analyze the results to determine which ones have the most significant impact on the project's success. To visualize this, we can create sensitivity graphs, which clearly show the relationship between changes in a variable and changes in our financial metrics. Smith 2020. Now, how do we incorporate risk into capital budgeting using sensitivity analysis? First, we need to understand the specific risks associated with our project. Sensitivity analysis is particularly useful because it allows us to isolate the impact of individual variables, giving us a clear picture of where our risks lie. It's important to note the difference between sensitivity analysis and scenario analysis. While scenario analysis examines multiple variables simultaneously, sensitivity analysis changes one variable at a time. This focus allows us to pinpoint exactly which variables we need to monitor more closely during the project. By using sensitivity analysis, we can mitigate risks by preparing for the worst case scenarios associated with our most sensitive variables. Let's discuss the benefits and limitations of sensitivity analysis. On the benefit side, it helps us identify which variables are critical to the success of a project. This, in turn, aids in risk management and supports more informed decision making. However, sensitivity analysis isn't without its limitations. For one, it doesn't account for interactions between variables. It's also heavily based on assumptions, which might not always hold true in the real world. Finally, conducting a thorough sensitivity analysis can be time consuming, especially for complex projects. To bring this to life, let's look at a quick case study. Imagine a project where we're analyzing the impacts of changes in sales volume and discount rates on NPV. We identified these two variables as the most critical during our sensitivity analysis. By adjusting these variables within our financial model, We found that even a small change in the discount rate had a significant impact on the NPV. This insight let us focus on securing the most favorable financing terms available to mitigate this risk. And in the end, sensitivity analysis provided us with actionable insights that directly influenced our decision to move the project forward. In conclusion, sensitivity analysis is not just a tool, it's an essential part of effective capital budgeting. By highlighting the risks and providing data-driven insights, it helps us make better financial decisions. The key takeaway is the most important of identifying and focusing on the variables that will drive the success of our projects. By preparing for uncertainties through sensitivity analysis, we can strengthen our project planning and improve outcomes. I encourage all of you to make sensitivity analysis a standard practice in your financial assessments to ensure more robust and resilient project planning. Here's a list of references that were used to help prepare this presentation. I thank you for all your time and have a great day.